So parenting is stressful at all times, but especially during pandemic parenting, because last I checked, there are still only 24 hours in a day, and yet the pressure on parents is higher than ever. We cannot recreate a typical school in our home. First of all, there are some benefits to that, right? When you drop your kid off at school, it's not like they are learning every single minute from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. No, teachers are sometimes with a ratio of 25-1 students, so your kids are getting a lot of individual attention. Teachers spend a lot of time kind of corralling our children to go to the water fountain, go to the lunchroom. So there are these really natural breaks. And there are other things that you can focus on at your home that kids can learn from. Life skills, for example, is something that I've really leaned into with my kids. In no world am I going to be able to sit down and do math worksheets all day long with my 4-year-old and 6-year-old sons. And honestly, I don't think I'm going to look back at this time in 10 years and be like, man, I really wish I did more math worksheets during that global pandemic with my children. So instead, I'm cooking with them. Cooking is a great life skill because you learn math. We're measuring the ingredients. It's reading. We have to read the directions. We learn order. There's the science of how all the ingredients come together. And then, of course, we have something to eat in the end, which is kind of fun. It's tactile. And how many people are sitting in quarantine right now saying, I really wish I learned how to cook when I was a kid. I also talk a little bit about having permission to not be a martyr and to take care of yourself a little bit, whether that's if you have a partner, kind of leaving your kids with a partner for a moment and taking some time for yourself. I've certainly had a breakdown where I went into my bedroom, shut the door for 20 minutes and just deep breathed through this moment. Or if you don't have a partner, putting your kids in front of a TV and sitting on the edge of the bathtub for 5 minutes. I'm not hard on myself when it comes to screen time right now. There is no way that my big regret from the global pandemic is going to be that my kids watch too much Paw Patrol. They are going to be fine. And my ultimate goal with screen time is moderation over the course of a week instead of a day. So if I have a really busy day and I have my kids watching a couple of hours of screen time and I don't have as much energy or time to interact with them, then the next day I try to balance it and have a little bit less. Once this pandemic is over, I know I'm going to be able to sit down with them and say, guess what? When it was the pandemic, we watched a ton of TV, but now it's over, so we're going to go outside and play. Sure, they're going to complain because kids will, but I'm the parent, and as long as I stick to my guns, we will be able to bounce back to our pre-pandemic screen time levels. What we're going to do when we look back on this time is wonder, did our kids feel safe? Did our kids feel loved? So I really leaned into that. Extra cuddles, extra conversations, talking, checking in with the kids. That is more important than any of the learning.